wine areas, in that the vast majority of the really good vineyards are not monopoles. In other words, they're not owned and operated by one producer. And that gives us this tremendous opportunity to see, as we do in Burgundy, as we do in Piemonte, to see the cross-pollination between a vineyard site and several different ways, or in some cases, many different ways of making wine from that vineyard site. The different approaches, beginning with the way that the winemakers ask the vineyard manager to farm, and on through vinification and then blending, and how the strong characteristics of the vineyard, and all great vineyards have strong characteristics, how those characteristics are mitigated in some cases with blending from other sites. So we have a very illustrious panel. We're really thrilled to have 3 of Washington's premier winemakers here, from the middle on out. Chris Upchurch from DeLille Cellars, Mike Janik from, among other things, Janik Winery, and John Bigelow of JM. All of them use fruit from the KLIPSUN Vineyard, and they all use it in different ways. Representing KLIPSUN, we have Patricia Gelles, who co-owns the vineyard with her husband David, and she's going to tell us about this unique patch of land and what she's trying to accomplish, and really what kind of setting are we dealing with here. And then to hold these guys' feet to the fire, we have Paul Greggett, who's the best wine writer in the Pacific Northwest and beyond, and Master Sommelier Michael Jordan, who has turned Disney into, I don't know if all of you were aware of this, but one of the great and most renowned wine cellars in America and the world. At the Disney company now, last time, I don't know, last time you were at Disney World or Disneyland, last time I went, I ate hot dog on a stick, I think. Probably not. But Michael has turned it into a place to go for wine alone, which is saying something. So let's see how good he is at grilling these guys, though. To start, I'm going to just ask Patricia to tell us about the KLIPSUN Vineyard. One note first: we're going to taste in this order, just so everyone's on the same page. The 3 barrel samples first, so 1, 3, 5, followed by the 3 finished products in the same order of producers, 2, 4, 6, and then the mystery wines, 7 and 8. And the purpose of the mystery wine is, by then, I hope we'll all have a sense of KLIPSUN-ness, of what KLIPSUN fruit tastes like, what its characteristics are. We'll have gone through how these 3 guys have used those characteristics, and we'll all have made our own decisions on whether they use them wisely or unwisely.
Barrel samples are 1, 2, 3.
Oh, okay.
They changed the master.
They changed it all. All right.
They did what you wanted.
Scratch all that.
KLIPSUN Vineyard, it's a name that my husband and I came up with. We wanted something that was very northwest, and it means sunset in Chinook Indian jargon. We're on Red Mountain, which is at the very south end of the Yakima Valley. And we planted our vineyard in 1984. And in those days, it was 2/3 white and 1/3 red. And today we are 5/6, as my husband likes to be very specific, 5/6 red and 1/6 white. And we have Cabernet, Merlot, we have Syrah, and Malbec, a tiny little bit of Nebbiolo, and Sauvignon Blanc and Semillon. And we planted the varieties that we like to drink, should we have to end up making wine out of it all in the end. At this point, we haven't made any wine, although our daughter is having wine made from our fruit, but that's a whole nother story. We planted right next to Kiona Vineyards, and we were like the 3rd planting on Red Mountain, so it was Kiona, what is now Ciel de Cheval, and then our vineyard. And Andre Chalachev came up and tasted the fruit from Kiona and said that it was the best Cabernet that he tasted, certainly up in Washington at that time. And we planted our vineyard right next to them for that very reason. And the other person who really loved our vineyard was Walter Claw, who, as many of you may or may not know, was the father of Washington wine. He was the man who told us how we could get our grapes through the cold winters that we used to have. They're not quite as devastating today. We have obviously gone to a great deal of trouble to make our vineyard one of the top in the state, and we choose our winemakers very carefully. And one of the things that we do is we like to taste the wines that they may have made, or find out who they're using as a consultant, if they've never had any wine made. And then we work together, and Julia Cook, my vineyard manager, is also here today. And she and the different winemakers go through the vineyard. We pick where they're going to be in the vineyard, depending on their style of wine perhaps, or what they're actually, the varietal that they're going to make. Some people are only getting whites from us. Most people are would like more reds than we can ever provide. I wish I could do double again, but we're restricted by water. As maybe some of you know, there is a lack of water in Washington. And so everybody has their designated rows, and they can go out to the vineyard at any time of the year, walk their rows, and they call Julia and discuss things, or they discuss it with me, and we go from there.